Good evening, Patriots from around the world. I want to welcome you to the first version of this, which is breaking news. It's something I'm going to be doing in between each one of my episodes as I think things are important that you guys need to know. Unfortunately, the very first one that I'm doing is about the shooting that took place in Texas yesterday, and my heart goes out and my thoughts go with all the families out there. This is a terrible thing that happened, and I don't know what words that we can say to make this any easier, but know that there's people with you and behind you, as well as all the other families from all the other pointless, horrific things that have been happening around the United States over the last couple of years. We love you, we're with you, and this is pointless, and I wish it never had to happen. That being said, when these things happen, a lot of talk about false flags comes up, and I wanted to get into that a little bit because the word false flag is a little bit deceptive, and it makes people think that the people that are saying false flag saying that it didn't happen and it's all a show, and that is not what we're saying. What we're saying is that these events that happen, there's more to them than what meets the eye. There is higher powers that are orchestrating these things, and for multiple purposes, to take certain individuals out without looking obvious, to distract you on the media when there's something else that they're trying to hide. That's what it's all about. And there's ways that you can watch these things and tell which ones are real and which ones are fake, because I'm not saying that everything that happens is a false flag, but I am saying that more of the things that happen are false flags than not. And that is sad and that is scary. And understand that it's as horrible as what these people are doing is. I have my theories, and I understand psychology, sociology, human behavior very, very well. I know nonverbal signals. People have things that they do and they don't realize they're doing them, and it is a responsive act that reveals the true self, and you don't realize that you're doing this. Sociopaths and psychopaths do horrible things for different reasons, and when you get into a case like these instances where these children are going out and killing these other people, it's important to watch the aftermath. Watch when they put them on the news, and pay attention to their body language. Pay attention to the way that their head is looking down, the way that their hands are. I'm not talking about they're going to be cuffed, obviously, but just watch all the little subtleties. Psychopaths and sociopaths do not remorse their actions. One of them, the psychopath, thinks that what they're doing is a natural thing, and it's almost instinctual, like it is for us to, our need to eat. In their heads, those emotions don't get separated, and it is something that they cannot help. It's terrible, but it's involuntary, often. When you come and deal with sociopaths, they're arrogant. They are narcissists. They're the kind of people that are probably watching the television and watching everything unfold, if not standing right there and watching everything unfold. They get a sense of enjoyment off of it. They love doing what they're doing. It excites them. And you're not going to have remorse when you're that type of personality. These children that are doing this are not only sad about what they've done, but they're in their subtle ways trying to make up for it, and you can't make up for these things. The law's going to do it. That's the thing. The justice system will take care of this. But I wanted to get into something that I think is very, very important as well. And there is a project that is called MK Ultra, and it's mind control. July 20th, 1977, CIA Mind Control Project, MK Ultra docs released for first time. And this is information that has been released about the actual project, and it goes through some pretty horrific things. It goes through different kind of mind techniques and things that they do to people in order to manipulate them, break their mind. And it's easily done on children. And I'm talking between 3 to 5 years old. When you've got a child who is under that age, they are still very, very instinctual. Logic does not start developing into the child's mind until about 5 years old. So anything before that, they can see and understand, but they don't understand why. And that's where logic comes in. And what's happening is a lot of children are being, I don't want to get into the details because it's pretty horrific. And the thing is they are breaking these children. And what happens is your pituitary gland literally splits when certain things are done, especially at this age. And when I say split, it is literally becoming another personality. And that's where multiple personality, schizophrenia, and things like that come from. And there's a physical sign of this. The children will actually see a bright flash of light, and that is the moment that the pituitary splits. And at that point, the child can grow up and have their own emotions and their own way of living and outlook on life and everything. But they can have a dark side to them, and the dark side is actually controlled. And in this particular case, the control master or the puppet master is referred to as a handler. And these handlers have different ways of triggering their people. And often the most common ways that are used are sound, frequency, certain words are triggers to people. Literally, you say this word and it brings them from personality straight to the other personality. And this one may know about this one, but unfortunately the good one doesn't know about the bad one. So everything that they are doing almost like a computer being told what to do. And they may not consciously recognize what's happening. I mean, there's a chance that these guys are going out and killing these children because they were triggered, and now all of a sudden they're in cuffs, and he's arrested and arraigned for murder of killing a whole bunch of kids. And now this guy is unbelievably sad, can't believe what happened. He must have done it because he's on camera doing it. Everybody's mentioning his name like there's no doubt he did it. But like I said, it's a personality split. And the reason that I bring this up now is because there's been a lot of really, really weird stuff happening on the news recently. And I'm talking the mother that had her child that jumped out of the window and they killed both of them. You've got the gunman down there in a Trump's resort. You've got another one, the guy that entered Hannity's home and they found out in the car. And a lot of these things that are going to the shootings, but I'm talking about the ones that are happening like recent. And all these things are just very out of character for what usually happens in the world, especially all in one chance or one time. And what got me thinking, and this is just a theory of mine, this is completely my opinion, so you can discard it or you can do some research and maybe see why I'm kind of seeing this. Recently there was this thing that came out, and I'm not going to play it because I don't know if this is legit or not. Yanni Laurel, I know everybody here has heard about it, and it is not just become viral, but almost every news show you see, and every show is talking about this. Like, they have a segment on it or something, and they play it for everybody. And I started thinking to myself, wow, if that were an MK Ultra trigger, how many people could they have just triggered at one time? Because there was no way around not seeing that on television, on the computer, or something at one time or another. Imagine how many people could have been triggered at one time. As all the media was focused on the shooting, there was a bunch of things that came out in the news yesterday, and I am certain some of this was meant to be buried within the mix, and that's why it didn't get any attention. Now, the Pope is involved in some pretty bad stuff, and that stuff's going to be coming out here soon. There's always been little bits and pieces here and there of people pointing fingers to priests and cardinals and whatnot, and pedophilia. And apparently there's a whole lot going on, and it's a lot worse than I and many people thought. And it's not a good thing. Now, I know that the Vatican is a religious institution, and a lot of people are devoted to their beliefs. And I don't want you to think that because the actions of some people that Catholicism is wrong, bad, or anything like that. Places can be tainted, but people can't if they don't want to be tainted. So people that have true love and true faith need to hold on to that, because I know the Vatican is going to try to bring this out as gently as possible, but I know the Pope is already starting to talk about when he's going to leave, and he's just gotten there pretty much. He would be the second one to leave being a pope, I think, in history, but there may be one more. I can't quite find what I was looking for. But it's very, very rare, and it's odd enough that it happened, but it's really odd that it happened back to back. And I know that Hillary and a lot of people that were in the Obama administration had something to do with Benedict being removed and Francis coming in his spot, and I don't know why. I'm not really sure, because I kind of got a bad vibe from Benedict anyways. And then now you've got the Pope Francis talking about hell not existing, which I think is a very weird thing for somebody that's that high in religion to say. Now, there has been some stuff that has not really come out in the mainstream news, meaning that I can find it, it's out there, but I have to dig for it. And it's crazy that I go 3 pages into Google searches before I can find what I'm looking for. And there's been 2 people at least now, like high profile people in the Vatican, that have directly been put to show that they have had relations with younger people, and possibly even more than that. And I mean a sex trafficking ring and so forth. I don't know yet. This is all going to be coming out. The Pope is going to have a really bad May. Q has told us that, but he's going to have a really bad June. I can see things rolling out now, and it's pretty scary. So apparently a whole bunch of priests in Chile offered to resign. And the Pope hasn't given an answer yet, but they are resigning because of this, because of the sex scandal and the trafficking and stuff. And I've heard rumors and whatnot, but I'm waiting for the facts to come out. And it's pretty scary, and I'm seeing it roll out. I'm watching it come out into the mainstream news. You can find it, but they're not talking about it as much as they should. And to me, this is way more important than a royal wedding. Way more important than a royal wedding, which is getting a whole lot more coverage than this stuff. So there's going to be a point where they can't hide it anymore, and I just want you to hold on to your faith and don't let this persuade you from the way that you believe, because we are human first and foremost, and bad people don't mean that the entire organization is bad. So let this thing play out, let the justice come to the people as it's supposed to, and you keep praying that no more children get brought up into this. That's the most important thing. All of the symbology that lies within all of the Vatican is unbelievable when you look at it. I'm talking upside down crosses. The temple that they worship in looks like a gigantic serpent, and I don't see how anybody can look at that and not think that it's weird. And there's also, if you really look close, that chair, the throne, is one of the most eerie things I've ever seen. And I feel when you go to church, you should be in a place that makes you feel comfortable. And I'll be honest with you, I love horror movies, I love all that stuff, but that puts me on edge, because I can't not see demons and devils and all kinds of stuff in that. And art should invoke something, and that doesn't seem like the right thing they're trying to get you to feel. So take a look at that. Next thing I want to talk about that got covered up yesterday, which I find to be very important, is Anthony Weiner's indictment has been unsealed. And this is very, very, very important, because Anthony Weiner has a lot of incriminating evidence in that computer, and I believe it was to blackmail them in case they tried to do something to him. But then the sex thing came out, and this is all related. The people that have just left New York, like the IG and whatever, that's all related to. You'll see more and more when they can't hide it anymore how many people are involved in this whole sex ring. And the information that's in that laptop was labeled insurance, which says what he was going to do with it. And it's got so much stuff in there. It covers so many different crimes. Anthony Weiner got a lot of people in trouble. And I know that's a bit of a joke. I'm sorry, I couldn't help myself. But yes, his computer and the stuff that's inside of it is about to make a lot of people go to jail and possibly hang. I don't know how they're going to do that these days, but I know they would have hung people back in the day for this. So be prepared to see a big change in our political system. Be prepared to see a lot of people that you trusted or thought you could trust are going to get in a lot of trouble. So yeah. Anyways, I want to thank you for joining us this evening. I'm sorry that I had to use my very first version of breaking news for this. My heart and prayers once again go out to all these families. I can't imagine what you're going through, all the different families, and my prayers go to you. A lot of other people are praying for you, and hopefully you get a little bit of comfort. I don't know. I can't imagine what's going on. And I'm sorry your kids had to get brought in to a political war, and it's absolutely pointless. And there's finally people that are working on this, and there's a hope that something is going to be done, and these things aren't going to happen anymore. Trust me, it's not about guns. This is about a whole big different thing, and they're using it for guns, and it's all about the election and votes and getting people on the Democratic side. Trump's not going to take your guns away. I can promise you that. And I'm not a big, huge gun guy. I have guns. But here's the thing. You will have to pry a gun from my dead hand before I let you have my gun. And the reason I say that is because there's no way I'm going to ever let anybody take my right and my ability to protect my family away from me. And I know a lot of people feel strongly about that, and that is just my opinion. I don't have a problem with the people that want some little bit of gun control, those obvious things that I'm pretty sure are already in effect. The thing is go talk to Britain, go talk to Australia. I want you to ask the people, not the politicians, I want you to ask the people what they think about no guns now. And if you think the crime got any less, oh no, it didn't. Because people that are bad can still get their hands on guns. It doesn't matter. They will find guns. It's going to happen. 2, people will use knives. People will do anything they can. And now they're trying to ban knives over in the UK, if I'm not mistaken. Anybody who's watching from the UK, let me know. I've lived in both places. I've lived in Scotland. I've lived in Britain. I've lived in the United States. So I understand the big differences between them. And it doesn't make it any less dangerous, and the crime doesn't go down. As a matter of fact, you're less likely to bust into somebody's home if you wonder if there's a gun in the hand of somebody on the other side of that door. In Britain, they can guarantee there's nobody with a gun on the other side of that door, and they'll come right into your home, and they will terrorize families. So gun control is not the answer, and we need to find the answer. Anyways, I want to thank you for joining us again for the breaking news version of Fortnite Patriots.